In this video, we're going to talk about building coaches. Right? Everyone talks about problem solving and they get into designing training programs and tools and infrastructure and they roll those things out. But coaches you can't roll out. Coaches you can't just design. You have to build. You have to develop coaching as a capability throughout the organization. Now here's my ideal state for coaches in an organization is that every single person is no more than 1 degree removed from an effective coach. Whether that's because I work on night shift or I'm in a building with not many people or I travel a lot, I should be able to, with 1 degree, get access to coaching on my problem solving. Wherever that coaching comes from, whether it's full-time coaches or something else, is a matter of design, which we'll talk about. Now, one sure way to make sure that everyone is only 1 degree removed from a coach is to essentially make every manager a coach. If you can build into the expectation of being a manager that you are also a problem-solving coach, you will have access for every single person. And the strongest lean organizations do exactly that. Now, there's a few things that have to be in place for this to work. First is making good situational decisions about when to be a manager and when to be a coach. It's very hard to be both at the same time in the moment. If I'm the manager, I have to approve, manage risk, make decisions. But when I coach, I shift most of that burden to the person I am coaching. And so I have to make decisions about when to do that. And good, effective decisions is ultimately critical. Second, I have to build supporting structure and mechanisms, processes to help managers be coaches. Right? Give them the tools that they need to build it into their work, build it into their relationship with their employees. Third, you need to think about the ratio. How many employees can a manager manage is different than how many employees can a manager coach. Now, just because I have 15 direct reports doesn't mean that I have to coach all 15 at once. But ultimately, if I'm trying to build every manager as a coach, I need to be thinking about that ratio because how many I can manage is very different from how many I can coach. Now, the hard part about this is that for every manager, they have to give up control today over their performance, over outcomes, in effort to benefit tomorrow from the outcomes of coaching. Except it's really not tomorrow, it's further down the road. Now that's a trade-off, no doubt, and that's why that situational awareness of when to make the trade-off is so important. But few things in the lean journey have as big an ROI, I believe, as building problem-solving coaching into the expectations of every manager. Now, if you don't make every manager a coach, which is quite a hard challenge, then you need to think about, are coaches part-time roles or full-time roles? Full-time roles are fundamentally, paid coaches in your organization. They would often come out of the lean team or be the sole task of the lean team. But part-time coaches can be just as effective, if not more effective, whether they're formal or informal. The formal is where it's just part of their job. They might have another skill where they are driving a lot of problem solving, and so you leverage that skill and make coaching a formal part of their part-time responsibilities. And the informal is simply designating people who want to coach and making sure that they value it, the organization values it, and people know how to find them. And those are sometimes the most effective coaches because no one questions their reason for coaching. They are coaching primarily because they love to and because they can help. Now, you have to build systems to build coaches. Make sure you have the structure in place to make sure that coaches can be built. Now, the first thing that I think is important is building standards for coaching, right? You probably have standards for how you problem solve. You should have standards for how you coach problem solving as well. So having standards becomes quite important. Now, beyond that, you also need space to learn. Right? You need opportunities to learn, whether that's coaching in safe groups with peers, coaching with someone that they're learning from, But fundamentally, we have our learning zone. And if we're too far out of our learning zone, it gets scary, and fear prevents the learning. And if we're too far inside, we're comfortable and we don't learn at all. So we eliminate both fear and comfort. We have to eliminate the fear by providing that safe space to learn, providing an opportunity for practice, for getting help, and even simply a peer group where coaches can learn from each other and talk about their challenges can be helpful as a lifeline. Eliminating comfort is quite easy if you really want to. You make coaching an expectation. Now I'm not going to decide whether to jump into coaching because I have to. It's the expectation now. But you have to find a way to eliminate the comfort zone, push people into that learning where they can actually learn to be coaches. And lastly, invest in coaches of coaches. Take your best coaches, whether inside the organization or out, and don't have them run around coaching people on problem solving. Have them coach people on coaching problem solving. Fundamentally, coaches of coaches probably have learned more about coaching than they even know about problem solving. Because it really is about putting two separate skill sets together and making that really effective. So consider your problem-solving coaches of coaches, how you really leverage them strategically. Now, as we think about this, we have to build coaches if we're going to get problem-solving right. If you learned anything from this, we can't just train this into place. We have to help people with their own self-discovery. For that, we need coaches, and to that, we need to go forward and build the coaches we need.